Most of the costs in environmental projects incur near the beginning and will be subject to a discount rate for only a short period, whereas most of the benefits accrue near the end and will be subject to the discount rate for a long period. Ponder, if you will, a 30-year project that has a cost of $1 million and benefits of $3 million. What a deal, might be your first reaction. Yet if the costs are mostly startup expenses and the benefits are only realized near the end of the project, the cost remains $1 million, but the $3 million of benefit at the end translates to $1.2 million at the onset with a discount rate of 3%, and only $0.4 million with a discount rate of 7%. A high discount rate therefore makes environmental projects appear economically unfeasible. Because the discount rate alone can doom environmental projects and regulations, this one parameter has stimulated volumes of debate. Some economists argue that the global economy has grown steadily despite dire warnings, and that technological changes are likely to enable quicker, more thorough, and less expensive mitigation of global climate change in the future. Therefore, a high discount rate is appropriate. Others argue that growth of the global economy has been highly dependent on the availability of cheap energy, and that as we deplete readily available fossil fuels, the opportunity cost of capital will decline. Therefore, the discount rate should only reflect the impatience principle and deserves a low value. Most societies believe that each generation bears some responsibility for the quality of life that it leaves to its descendants, and that every generation deserves an equal opportunity of success. Intergenerational equity in a financial context means that an endowed institution should not spend more than the after-inflation rate of return on its investment to sustain its assets at similar levels for present and future beneficiaries. In a broader context, Earth's natural resources are an endowment, and intergenerational equity means that societies should strive for the sustainability of natural resource assets for present and future beneficiaries. Some analysts address intergenerational equity by adding a bequest value to the benefits of an environmental project, as mentioned in a previous section. More commonly, analysts substitute a low social discount rate for the real discount rate. A social discount rate reflects the willingness of a society to trade present consumption for future consumption. Future generations, however, are likely to be wealthier than the present one, even at modest rates of economic growth. Thus, policies that sacrifice present consumption in favor of future consumption essentially transfer wealth from the poorer present generation to the richer future generation, an intergenerational inequity. A positive social discount rate compensates for such inequity. In contrast, a shrinking economy may justify a zero or even negative social discount rate. Harvard economist Martin Weitzman surveyed economists about their opinions on an appropriate discount rate for projects that mitigate the possible effects of global climate change. He received responses from 2,160 economists in 48 different countries, a significant portion of the world's economists laid end to end. The mean response was a discount rate of 4%. The median, equal number of responses higher and lower, was 3%. The mode, the most common response, was 2%. And the standard deviation was about 3%. Many of the respondents also favored a hyperbolic discount rate, one that declines significantly with time when a project extends over many decades. Intergenerational equity treats the distribution of wealth over time. More commonly, economists consider the distribution of wealth over space, that is, the allocation of resources among people currently alive. Ideally, everyone would profit equally from a change in economic policies. To profit equally might mean that, for example, the government either issues tax rebates, everybody receives a $600 check, or cuts the tax rate, everyone receives back the same percentage of what they contributed. Each course of action is unfair. A tax rebate favors the poor over the rich, or a tax rate cut favors the rich over the poor. The choice between tax rebates and tax rate cuts might be straightforward for Robin Hood, who took from the rich and gave to the poor, but is less obvious to most governments.